Late this summer, proposed rule changes from Education Secretary Betsy DeVos were leaked. The new guidelines could drastically change the way that allegations of sexual violence are investigated on college campuses. Sonia Guglani, president of the UMass Amherst Democrats, spoke with me about how some students have responded to these potential changes, as well as how sexual assault and harassment are currently being addressed.
I think that there's a lot of education that still needs to be done on college campuses throughout America, especially, me being a student at UMass and advocating for these issues. I realized that a lot of students don't know the resources that are available to them. A lot of students don't know about Title IX, and a lot of students don't know what the federal government is trying to do to maybe sort of hinder those steps for victims. So I think overall, we really do, as a campus community, we have so much to do and so much to say in terms of education. There's a lot I think the administrators can do. So I think right now we definitely have to take some big steps to make sure students know their rights.
And for folks at home who might not be aware, Title IX are kind of the rules that govern or level the playing field in education, I think is a way to oversimplify what it does.
Absolutely, yeah. Just making sure that, it's basically Title IX basically says you cannot discriminate based on gender, based on sex, and that sexual assault is prohibited in any way and it's not acceptable.
And so I know that the Democratic group that you are president of has been holding some events, doing some advocacy around sexual harassment, around sexual assault. In your opinion, the current rules that govern this process, do you think they're too strict, too lenient?
Oh, I absolutely think they're too lenient. I think right now, for instance, right now for a victim to come out and to say what they have to say, it takes miles and it takes way too many steps for them to come forward. So,
meaning, what specifically? Too much paperwork, too many people to deal with?
Absolutely. So I think in terms of I think one, when a victim does get sexually assaulted, right? The first instant, it's what do I do? Where do I go? And I think as a university and just as universities across the country have failed to really service victims, and especially the federal government. I think right now there are way too many steps, as you said. There are too many barriers. So for example, if somebody wants to go the legal route, right, you have to now get a lawyer. That requires a cost, right? And a lot of students can't afford that. So that's one. I think two is now facing your perpetrator in court, for example, right? If this makes it to court even, you have to now face him and you have to now get cross-examined by somebody who's basically going to tell you, no, your story is wrong. So I think overall there are way too many steps that a victim doesn't want to go through because it requires a lot of, mental health associated with that process, right? For a student, for example, the semester doesn't stop, it keeps going, right? So if you're a victim and, you're going through all this legal paperwork and you're going all through this legal process, mentally it's gonna be tough to balance your schoolwork with that. So that's why victims a lot of times just say, you know what, I don't want backlash from other students. If, for instance, if my story doesn't, people don't believe my story, if the legal system works against me, I don't want to go through all that trauma. So they feel it's better just not to say anything. And then same with the school too, of course, that there are just so many hurdles and steps in order for your story to finally be believed. And I think that's why a lot of victims shy away from it. Actually, they say that only 2% of victims on college campuses report their assault.
This is a bit of a personal question, so if it's too personal, we don't have to discuss it.
Absolutely.
But you're a student, you're very involved, you're very engaged. Are you aware of students on campus, either male or female, who have been sexually assaulted, who have not come forward because of what you're pointing out?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually do know a couple students, especially because I've been doing a lot of advocacy work correlated to this issue within the last couple months. I've had students come up to me and tell me, I really like this work you're doing because this happened to me. And I've been hearing that way too often and way too many times from both males and females. And I think people don't realize that 1 in 5 women are sexually assaulted on college campuses. 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted on college campuses. This is an epidemic. I think for the most part, I think people are aware this is a problem, but they don't know the extent of the problem.
So when you heard that from fellow students, what did you suggest that they do, steps that they take?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one step I always try to recommend is therapy, for example. So I know here at UMass, right, and I'm sure hopefully on college campuses across the country, we have the Center of Women and Community, and they have counselors and coaches that try to take you step by step of what happened, and they try to basically give you sort of therapeutic, recovery. And I know that obviously that doesn't cover the full extent of the problem, but it's always a first step. And I always recommend they see a professional. And then when they do see a professional, that professional can, sort of have a judgment as to whether they should take legal steps or whether they shouldn't. Also at UMass, we have the student legal services. So that's basically a bunch of lawyers that are fighting on behalf of the students. So I say go to student legal services, find out what services they have to offer for sexual harassment and see if there's a lawyer that can help you, I think it's one of those things too, where as like a friend and as a peer, sometimes a victim just wants you to listen to their story because they haven't been able to tell anybody else, right? So I always try to tell people, let's meet up, let's in a private place, and let's talk about what happened. Yeah. And sometimes that's the first step to recovery, is just telling someone.
I want to have us discuss some of the proposed changes that the Education Secretary has put forth. And this is according to some reporting by the New York Times, and the proposed rules were actually leaked online. There are about 120 pages of documents if people are interested in looking at the full extent of the proposed changes. Secretary DeVos says under the Obama-era rules, they force schools, in her opinion, to violate the due process rights of the accused. So she's considering a number of changes, and here's one. She thinks that should schools require higher education standards or evidence when handling complaints? That's something that she thinks that needs to be there. What do you think?
I personally think that the rules that she's proposing is just making it easier for the perpetrator to get away with, the assault that they did. I think that for a victim to come forward is already hard as it is, and this is just creating more steps. Because again,
they're afraid to come forward.
Right. I think because they're afraid to come forward, there's so much emotional trauma associated with that. I think people don't understand that, it's not that easy to just go out there and falsely accuse someone of sexual assault or harassment, right? This is a process, right? If somebody's sexually harassed, any male or female, this takes a toll on you. You are mentally just unstable, and not, of course not everybody, but many people become mentally unstable from becoming harassed. So this is a process to go out there and to come forward. And if we create barriers saying, oh, we need stronger, hard proof evidence, there are going to be more steps to ensure that this actually happened. What happened to morality and humanity, right? It's why can't we believe a victim when they come forward and say, I have been harassed?
Do you think if a campus administrator is aware of a sexual assault allegation, that the school itself should investigate, or should they wait until the student comes forward?
I think the school should proactively investigate, but I also think the school should proactively reach out to the student first, the victim, and say, what happened? What do you want the outcome to be, right? Because I think not every victim wants to see the perpetrator in jail. Not every victim wants that. Some victims, I've talked to some victims, and they said, the most I want right now is just for him to be out of my dorm building.
So part of what your organization, the Democratic Group on Campus, has been doing is something called the This Is Us campaign, which is a national campaign basically launched in 2015 under President Obama, meant to encourage people to come forward or to stand up and say, you know what, I don't think that's appropriate behavior. You should stop. Right. So why did the Democrats want to get involved and hold the series of This Is Us events that you have been holding on campus?
Yeah, so it's on us. It's it's a great initiative. So I'm actually the ambassador of the program, as well as, I kind of instilled it in a lot of the work I'm doing with the UMass Democrats, because I felt they were very correlated to each other. And a lot of people within our organization really care about this issue, and they want this to end, right? So, when I looked at the statistics, once again, 1 in 5 women, 1 in 16 men, 2% of victims only come out and share their stories. The LGBTQ community is always disproportionately affected. Women of color disproportionately affected. And basically the goal of this campaign is to foster conversations on college campuses. That we want to make it clear that this is something we need to talk about, and this is something that we need to address as a campus community. Our goal throughout the week is to have people take the pledge to this campaign. Pledge that you are going to be an upstander instead of a bystander. When you go out to a party, if you see something going on, step in and let's do something about it. Let's make sure that people are safe. And I think that's what we at UDems want to make sure, we let the campus community know that we are behind the victim and we want to talk about this with you. I think a lot of victims I've talked to, they receive backlash, right, from, the perpetrator and the perpetrator's friends, right? And we don't want that to be the case. We want to try to create an inclusive community where we're you know what? Let's not engage just women in the conversation, but let's also engage men. Let's engage Greek life. Let's engage the UMass athletics. Let's engage everyone. Let's talk about what's going on and what we could do better. We have so many resources on campus, but it's all about implementation.